Let's take a look at today's back pages with Tesco Mobile for Business.
Backpage review on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Freelancer, get business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big mobile networks. For terms and verification, visit tescomobile.com/business.
Just before we do, Lee from the West Midlands says, morning, Jeff and Cass. What a pleasure to be listening to you this morning, Cass. Ali still missing, just like the Rangers' defence. Shebahn's not missing, she's here. Hi, Shebahn, morning.
Shebahn. Very good morning. Lots of focus, of course, on tonight's cracker in the Champions League. Back page of The Sun, they're going for Whale of Two Cities. Pep Guardiola doesn't know which team will turn up tonight, speaking about his own team, of course. The Times saying Pep not sure unstable City can beat Real. That's the headline, back page of the Times. The Daily Mail saying Pep City gives me nightmares and Real in our sights is the headline in the Mirror. So build up to tonight's brilliant game. Paul Hurst saying in the Times, Pep Guardiola admits he has no idea which version of his Man City team will turn up when they face Real Madrid in the first leg of the Champions League playoff tonight. Guardiola also said it was a privilege to come up against Real for the 5th time during his 8.5-year spell in charge of City, although acknowledged the difficulty of the task at hand tonight. In the last 3 times that these two have met in this tie, one of the sides has gone on to lift the trophy. But it feels like Man City aren't the Man City that we're used to in the last 3 times they've met.
No, I mean, look, it's been well said all season. No one can would have imagined what City would be this year.
Yeah.
They're unrecognisable. And the biggest thing for me I can't get is how many City players are so gifted on the ball. Their passing has been so off-colour this season. So many players are losing the ball or kicking the ball out of touch, like Bernardo Silva, Gundogan and others. You know, just not what we associate what their quality is, and that is keeping the football.
Well, you were at Brisbane Road at the weekend, weren't
Yeah,
you? You saw them at Orient, and that doesn't inspire confidence that they can
good.
down Real Madrid.
Mm-hmm. No. And look, Orient were fantastic, and Man City were pretty average, and look, it could have gone 2-0. It was 1-0 to Orient. It could have easily gone 2-0. They had a great chance. But I didn't see anything that replicates even close to what they've been like in recent seasons.
I mean, there's a lot of love and respect between both managers. Charlie Wyatt's saying in The Sun, Carlo's having a mare. Despite City's strugglers this season, the Real boss says they are one of the best teams in Europe. They have the best managers. Just sidebar, who would be your preferred manager, Pep or Ancelotti?
I think it's a really harsh one because they're both
managers.
fabulous managers. They've done, Pep reinvented football, if you like, and Ancelotti has managed the biggest stars. And if you can stay at Real Madrid as long as he has, he's done a hell of a lot right. And even when he's left, he's come back. You know, what a job he's done. I think one of them in Ancelotti is incredible at managing players, because I just look at the way his teams play, because they have Galacticos, but when they're playing for him, they always, you see the effort and desire, tackles of being a Real Madrid player. They don't carry anybody.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. He's a brilliant manager. Brilliant man. Pep is a brilliant tactician. And, so to compare the two is very difficult, isn't it? They're both absolutely brilliant. I just think that Manchester City, Real Madrid clashes of the past are sort of irrelevant, because this is not the Manchester City that we know.
Good point, Jeff.
And I just fear for them tonight, that's all.
Yeah, I think a lot of City fans would say exactly the same thing. It's like before the weekend when Tottenham went to, Villa, a lot of Tottenham fans felt it was going to be a really hard game, like they did feel about going to Anfield. Mm-hmm. I think City fans are going to be really edgy about this game, because why wouldn't they be? They're playing against a Real Madrid team, by the way, who are way better than they were at the start of the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly that. Let's talk about Ange Postecoglou in just a second and his injury crisis, but back page of The Sun, Arsenal fans will be pleased with this. Scarman Saka closes in on return. Amelia Hawkins saying Bukayo Saka was seen with a huge scar on his hamstring after that surgery as Arsenal ace stepped up his recovery. He's out in Dubai in warm weather training. This is the time to see him come back. Arsenal need it now more than ever as they kind of look to kind of get the title.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, he's been out for a little while, so I don't think you can expect him to be immediately making an immediate impact. But of course, he's a fantastic footballer, so to have him back for what will effectively be the run-in, it just brilliant for Arsenal.
It is, and
they've missed him.
Yeah, they have missed him. Do you know what surprised me is how common that injury has become? Having the operation on the hamstring. There's been a number. I mean, the original one was Michael Owen, who had the really bad injury, had an operation on his hamstring. But we've seen in recent sort of last couple of seasons that players are having operations on their hamstrings. Reece James has had operations on his hamstring, and kept having a recurring injury. So it's a bit of a modern day one, Jeff, on the hamstring. They happen. People pulled them, and 3 weeks, 6 weeks maybe out. Now you're seeing operations on them.
Yeah, and you are right. You are seeing the same pattern being repeated and repeated. And Reece James is a classic example, and you always fear for him, don't you?
Yeah. You're a little bit edgy because you see and you think one little tweak and he'd be gone again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In other news, inside the Telegraph today, Matt Law's done a piece. Postecoglou gives players 2 days off as he presses reset. Then in the Times, Tom Alnott's reporting that Tottenham trio set to make a return. Ange Postecoglou hopes to have Destiny Udogie, James Maddison and Vicario back for the game against Manchester United in the league on Sunday. Also, 3 other players, key members of the squad, set to be back in training. Brennan Johnson and Odobert also get back in the coming days, with Timo Werner and Dominic Solanke not far behind. So if you get, say, 8 of these players back and being able to play and have minutes, he's out of excuses if it doesn't work.
Yeah, well,
right?
He isn't. I mentioned James Maddison's a disgrace because he doesn't play James Maddison anyway. Yeah. When was the last time James Maddison played 90 minutes for them? I mentioned this yesterday. I'm going to do it again. It's easy to pick on one game. I know it is. But the Tottenham side that lost at home to Ipswich, this year, Vicario, Dragusin, Romero, Udogie, Porro, Kulusevski, Sarr, Bentancur, Son, Solanke, Brennan Johnson. On the bench, Archie Gray, Jed Spence, Ben Davis, Basuma, Maddison, Bergvall, Werner. They still lost with all of the players that they've been moaning about missing. And obviously the injuries had an impact, but there is no guarantee that when they're all back, they'll suddenly start to win games.
You know that the most injuries in the Premier League...
I've got it here. You got it at the Times.
It's not. Well, yeah. Well, no, it's in the
it's
paper.
A good piece,
I was speaking about this yesterday with some couple of people at the Times, and it's Brighton who have had the most injuries.
Brighton
per minute.
20 injuries, days lost 1,020. Tottenham 26 injuries, days lost 783. And look at Brighton in the league.
Well, yeah.
So it's quite a good piece actually in the Times today by Peter Rutzler on that. If you want to check it out.
Yeah, really interesting. That is really interesting. Thanks, Shebahn.
Thank you.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.